welcome to Alexandra and Friends on the August the 2nd of 2025.
Wow.
Wow, 5 years ago, I started this Alexandra and Friends talk podcast, and my goodness, here we are today.
Wow.
Thank
That
you
is
so very much. We've got
amazing.
an amazing guest today. Good morning. Good
Yes.
morning. Good
Good
morning, Marshall. How
morning.
are
Good
you? How
morning.
was
Good
your trip
morning.
to Puerto Vallarta? You've been on
Oh,
vacation. I see
San
Roland
Jose
kind
is
of filled in for
everything.
you,
Thank
huh?
you, Roland. He's amazing.
Oh
I
no.
had a great time. I just didn't realize how much I needed to stop and release. Very important to do. And I feel like a brand new, that song they used to say back in the day. I got a brand new pair of roller
There
skates.
it
You
is.
got a
There
brand
it
new
is.
key.
Yes.
Well, I was commenting this morning that you definitely look like you have this aura about you that you are
Oh,
rested, peaceful, and ready to
yes.
hit the ground running.
Yes,
Absolutely,
thank you. And
absolutely.
that's
Well,
how I
good
feel. So thanks for
morning.
asking.
You're listening to Alexandra and Friends at the meeting place in Farmers Branch. We've got a very interesting show today, but first of all, Elena is not here
Hi,
today. She
darling.
is out working, so we have an amazing co-host, Mr. Rolando Castañeda is filling in.
Good
So
morning,
Yes.
how
everybody.
are you doing, Rolando?
Doing very well. Doing very well. We miss you, Elena. Can't wait to have you back.
Oh, he's trying to keep that chair warm for you, Elena.
He's keeping
So
it
having
warm.
said
Well, I'm
that,
certainly wide enough. Take up a lot of room.
Nah, you're good.
well, thank you so much. As usual, we come on the first and last Saturday of every month. We really appreciate it. Last month, we had an amazing, or a couple of weeks ago, we had an amazing guest, Kim McGrath from Kansas City with her.
Wow,
She was
hometown, Missouri.
with her books. We've had a
Yeah,
lot of people ask about her books. So
awesome.
and from that, we are having a young lady that's 14 years old who just finished writing her book, and she wants to come and
Oh,
be part
love
and
that.
meet you so that you
Oh,
can talk to
I
her
love
about
that.
how to produce her book.
I love that.
And she was so excited to see that. So
Yeah.
we bring guests from all walks of life and
Yes.
all sections of life, and also they all have a story. And we have Andy work. He's our producer today because G is out of town. So we were exciting. It's an exciting morning. So
Yes.
Rolando, how about you taking the opportunity to introduce our guest?
Well, okay. Today we are bringing you Jonathan, and I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing your last defect. Is that correct?
Defects, yeah,
Defect,
correct.
who is a financial advisor, and he's here to help us discuss how our families can reach their financial goals.
Yes.
And why don't you we'll start off just by telling us a little bit about yourself.
A lot of it. A lot
A lot of
about
it.
yourself. Yes.
Of course, well, I appreciate being here this morning, and thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited. Little bit about me. I'm a financial advisor, field director here in the Dallas area. Started my financial practice probably about five years ago, right before this thing called COVID happened.
Yes.
So that was a great time, but I think it highlighted the importance of what if, right? We never know what's going to happen. We spend so much time
Right.
planning for when things go our way,
Say that again.
and we forget that there are uncontrollables in life.
That's right.
But as far as the practice goes, we do a lot of our work, just personal financial planning, the risk side, the investment side, the retirement planning, retirement distribution, and everything in between. And I'd say that the big part of our job is really just understanding people. I think money is a very emotional topic.
Yes.
And so what I do, it's never going to be a logical business. And the other thing I would add to that is, everyone's different. Everyone has different goals and objectives and timelines. And so it's difficult to find a one size fits all to any sort of planning. And so we really, really pride ourselves on taking our time to say what makes sense for you.
What makes sense for
I
you?
love that.
So how did you, is this what you studied and you went to college to study this, or is this something you happened upon, or how did this take place?
Yeah, really, really good question. So my dad's a doctor, and I think actually probably up until this point, he thinks I might still be a doctor at one point. But growing up,
Doctor of Wealth.
right, growing up in that household, I always thought I wanted to go into medical school, and I thought about it for a while, and ultimately I decided that that really wasn't for me. And so my dad understood, he's always been supportive. And so coming out of school, I actually worked a little bit at his clinic. And really part of what I did was transitioning him out of the business.
Okay.
Was selling his practice to get him to retire, and so
What kind of a doctor was he?
family medicine.
Family medicine,
Yeah,
okay,
family
okay.
medicine, and
Internal
so
medicine.
so family medicine, internal medicine. That was a transition, but it taught me so much, right? It
Yes.
taught me, you know, observing him with his patients, him telling his patients, "Hey, I'm going to be retiring," and seeing the connection, the relationship that he had with all of his patients. I said, that's the part of medicine that I love.
Right.
And I said, I can't be a doctor. I'm not going to be a doctor, but I said, I want to find something that has the ability to be impactful in someone's life, to be a resource to the entire family for generations.
Building relationships.
Yeah.
Correct. And so that put me in a spot where I needed to start looking around for what we could do. And I ran across the opportunity of starting my financial practice. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to be a doctor without the medical side of things. And, my dad's always taught me, listen, ask good questions. And when you're listening, listen to understand, not to respond.
Correct.
And so there's so many aspects of his practice, his patients, and who he is as a person that translated over to me.
So, where did you go to school?
I went to the University of Arkansas up in Fayetteville, was up there for 4 years, and came right back down to Dallas, Texas.
Wow. And let me ask you a question. So, when you came back from school, you went directly into your business. Is that correct? I mean, you just honed in.
I did not. So I worked for 1 year with my dad, and that was when I was working at his practice. And as much as I love being the glorified doctor's son, I also understood that he was on his way out. And me working there was not necessarily, in my opinion, not a very efficient use of my time.
Well, it's temporary.
Yes.
It was correct. It was very temporary, and I'm very grateful for it. But it was about 1 year in when I started to think and find something else, and I came across the opportunity I'm at now.
What did you study when you were in Arkansas?
So ironically, I started with biology.
Yes.
I have a lot of science classes, and towards my junior year, I actually made a switch to kinesiology, exercise science.
Okay.
And so I graduated with that degree. We took some business and finance courses as well. But if you look at my diploma, it is a Bachelor of Science.
How interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
So you knew at that time, being background of your father, learning things regarding the business side. Now, all of a sudden, the financial advisor came into your life. When? What year did you start building this empire, and what did it take to start this baby to walk?
Started in 2019, late September of 2019 was when I officially started.
Okay.
That summer, right before September, I was going through training and taking licenses, investment courses, and everything in between. And, my background didn't necessarily translate over to all of the financial terms and investment strategies and everything in between. And I just had to study. It wasn't something that was difficult. It just, believe it or not, it took time and discipline and consistency, and I got it done. But 2019 we started, and you're learning as you go. You're relatively young. I was about 25, and so a lot of my peers were 25 years old as well, and that's a whole other conversation. But finding a 25-year-old that maybe sees the world a little bit more responsibly it can be a challenge itself.
Yes.
But we started September 2019, and for it to get going, I think it just took time. It just took time, and getting in front of people, introducing myself to new people, and finding the clients or the friends that I knew. Hey, what I do is applicable to them at this life stage.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
And I knew that the young single 25-year-old in Dallas
Yes.
was not going to be as interested or listen to me as much as the young newly married 25-year-old couple that just bought their first home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's where your passion grew. Your passion, once you start noticing that that's what you want to do, and your first client came, your very first client, is that when you felt like your passion even grows stronger in financial as a
Interesting.
financial advisor?
I don't know if I would say it was the first client. I think it took a little bit of time.
Okay,
Right?
I
think
love
it
that.
took a little bit of time, and
Yeah.
that's mostly because sometimes you don't know the impact that you're going to make on someone for
So
years
good.
and years and years, and maybe even never.
Absolutely.
And the conversations I had with friends, with colleagues, with everybody, I always think to myself, whether we work together or not, there's a takeaway from our conversation that's going to make you a little bit of a better version of yourself. And so sometimes we don't know the impact that we've had on someone's life.
So, Jonathan, when you graduated, you went to work for Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Were you interviewing? Were you deciding that you were going to go into the wealth management programs at that time? And were you interviewing with companies? How did you find out the right place, the right time to be, and who was the one that was mentoring you?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
It is.
I did have a mentor, and he was extremely helpful and helped me point me in the direction of where I'm at today.
I love that.
He actually had a long time advisor with Northwestern Mutual, and he spoke really highly of him. And he, told me, go ahead and look at this company. Right, I think it's a good fit for you. And so I did. I did a little bit of research. I interviewed with a couple different companies in the financial services segment, and I started that process. And so then I went back to my mentor. I said, "Hey, thank you so much for introducing me to this. You said really good things about your advisor, and it sounds like you guys have a phenomenal relationship, and I just love to meet him." And his response, and I'll never forget, was, "I would love to. However, he was killed last week."
Oh
Oh,
my God!
What?
no.
And seeing how affected he was by it, it was very apparent that they had a strong
The
relationship.
Tight relationship.
Oh my God!
And that was probably one of the moments where I'm like, I want that. Like that's something that I
That
want.
connection.
A
Correct.
connection.
Yeah. Wow.
Goodness.
Oh,
Ooh.
that was so. Your continuation. So, did you work? Did you go with as you interviewed the companies? What is it that attracted you? I know that you were interviewing with very strong companies. What attracted you the most to where you are today, and where probably you will continue? What was the attraction?
It was the culture. It was the group of people. It was during the interview process. I was meeting someone new every single time.
Nice.
We're walking in the hallways, and it was always, "Jonathan, please meet blank. Jonathan, please meet them," and it felt like there was a community, a group, a culture, a family to where say, "Hey, we want you to be a part of this."
That's
It never felt like it was.
You weren't just a number.
Right.
correct.
Right. Rolling.
I like that
right.
role and number. You were just a number. Yes.
Ironically enough, we're talking about finance, but no.
Yes.
And it stood out. Honestly, it stood out well beyond belief. And interviewing at different places, I just didn't get that same feeling of.
Well, it's the idea of the corporate atmosphere, like we are talking about, where you're not really a person. You're just a cog, and it feels so impersonal, and it's hard to take pride in what you do when you don't feel like you're having an impact either on the people you're trying to help or the people that you're working for or with. And in my business, if I miss a day, it's felt. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but no one else is trained to do what it is that I do. And if
Gotcha.
I have to miss a day, it has ripples. And it sounds to me like the culture that you're discussing is that you fill a void that no one else is going to be able to fill. And it does feel good.
It does.
It
It
does.
feels.
Great point.
It's a good point. I'm in the real estate world, and I can tell you, if I missed a year for my because of my illness, and it completely feels it's a different world because you have built that culture area. You know that your clients depend on you.
I was about to ask that.
Your people are used to you. But let me just say, because we're both in the same world you're in the commission world. The faithfulness is there, but when the client needs something, they don't wait for you. They find somebody else. Am I not correct?
Yes, I see where you're coming from.
So our culture, we have to continue our constant contact with our clients no matter what. Because if they need you, they're not going to wait 6 months or a year to be able to get the things done. And so if Jonathan is not available for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and he's working on their wealth management, they're going to figure out, hey, we need to talk to somebody else. Is that not?
It's competitive, right?
It's
The
very competitive.
field.
It's very competitive field. Yeah, except Jonathan has built a very good niche because he's kept them in like a little bird. He's got the little
Love it. I would love it.
a little bird. What do you call it? A nest.
Yes.
So he's got that little nest there. Right.
So I would imagine that what you do has to be somewhat challenging because we live in a society now where you have such a spectrum of people that are out there. Like you were talking about, you know, 25-year-old out there that all that they care about is going to work, making a couple of bucks so they can go and blow it on the weekends.
You're not wrong.
Or you have the couple,
Or have a little beer
like
on
we
the
talked
side.
about, that just they just got married, they're buying a house, they're starting a family, and then you have the people that maybe are a little advanced in years, and for whatever reason, maybe they didn't save, they didn't have a plan. So the spectrum that you're having to operate within, it sounds almost insurmountable. Because you have to literally sit there and almost interrogate, who are you, what do you do, how much do you make, how much are you willing to invest? I mean, can you go over a little bit of how it is you even do what you do with a spectrum like that to deal with?
Yeah, the spectrum is definitely there, right? It's, you know, there's clients that are retiring or we're distributing for their, you know, retirement lifestyle, and then we have clients that are just really starting off. The first question I'm always going to ask is, what's important to you?
What's important to you? That's yes.
What's important to you? And coming into our conversation, what is it that you want to talk about? Or is there something that we need to make sure that we address? A lot of our clients have experience with other advisors or financial services or anything like that. And we always tell our clients, our goal is to get you from an 8 to a 9 or a 9 to a 10. If you're an A+, I want you to leave being an A++. And whether that is assisting with just one piece of their plan or if it's putting everything together, we can do that. And so to answer your question, it's not so much about the age, but more of what life stage are you at? What have you done in the past, and what can we do to complement what you've done in the past?
Right.
I'm always going to say the best time to do something is yesterday, and the second best time is today.
Right.
And if you're 50 years old and you start planning for retirement, well, at least you're not 55.
Right.
But a lot easier if you start at 25 or 30, as you may know.
Yeah. I mean, with the economy being what it is these days, it's hard enough to, pay for the roof over your head, groceries. If you have children, oh my gosh, it's so expensive to raise children. A lot of folks these days don't have a lot of money to be able to just set aside. I mean, I speak from personal experience that there are times where you're literally going paycheck to paycheck because fill in the blank, something happens, the car breaks
Yes.
down,
lot
somebody
happens.
gets sick, there's any number of things that can happen in the world that will drain whatever you had set aside just in order to survive. So I'm sure, I'm sure there's any number of words of advice that you could give, but what do we say to people who come to you and say, look, I literally have nothing to invest? What can you say to somebody like that?
So that's probably the toughest conversation that I have to have with clients sometimes, and it is simply we need to budget. Let's just be as simple as possible. Is there's money coming in, there's money coming out, what's left over, and understanding if we're at a deficit, then we need to fix something because that's not going to be long term.
People living outside of their means.
And what I've found is nobody really budgets. Nobody wants to
I believe that.
Yep, that's
see
a
how
big
much
thing.
they actually spend. And so I go back to my first question, what's important to you? And you tell me what's important to you, and we look at the budget. So if X is important to you, then why is this not an item on your budget sheet?
Right.
And Jonathan, and I think a lot of people also live beyond their means.
way beyond their
beyond the means.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I know you've known me all your life, and I have a situation. I'm a very conservative spender. I don't care what it looks like, but one of the things that I look at is, what is the tomorrow going to look like for me? Can I take care of myself? Do I have to borrow from people to be able to live? Or do I have to borrow from a company? Do I have to? These are important things that you have to look at, because unfortunately, if you don't budget your life on a yearly basis, you got to do it on a yearly basis. When you start taking money from your left pocket to pay for the right pocket, we have an issue. And that's what's happening to more and more people. They don't live for the moment that they're going to be ill. How are you going to take care of yourself for 6 or 8 months or a year? Am I correct on that?
You're correct. Yeah.
And especially in the younger people, well, the older people today, they want to live like the younger people. They want to be in that status of spending, and you can't. There's no way. So you have to normalize yourself. Now, you've been in this business now, what, 2 years, 3 years?
I think closer to 5.
Yeah.
Closer to 5. Okay, gosh, I remember when you were still in high school. So, your majority of your members, what is their age approximately?
It'd be tough to say. I would most likely say maybe between 35 and 45.
That's interesting.
A couple outliers here and there, but generally it's about within 10 years of your age. But that brings up a really good point is, there's a shortage of financial advisors because when they start retiring, there are not going to be enough advisors to work with the next generation. And it's something that we've noticed, and me being 30 years old.
Happy birthday.
Not yet, but
Yeah,
thank
happy
you.
birthday.
Tomorrow, right?
Close, next month.
Next month. Oh, that's right. That's right.
But who's counting?
Right. You're going to be 21, right?
But the challenge is, if you're a pre-retiree, 50, 55 years old, and you're working with an advisor that's your age, they're going to be retiring when you're retiring.
That's true.
And
Great point.
And that's something that stands out, and we're aware of it. And so that's where we have strategic teams, right? We all work in partnerships with, hey, I want to work with an advisor that might be 20 years ahead of me. And that's the best way for us to learn, but also to serve our clients, not only for that next generation.
Next generation.
But if you're 55, your advisor's 55, you guys are going to be retiring at the same time, and then what are you going to do?
That's a great point, because I feel like the younger generation who is in this market field is just a lot changing. And I just feel like my personal opinion that they can really get the message over to us that's happening and what's trending now. Do you agree with that?
100%.
I do too.
Interesting.
I mean, I'm not trying to be, discriminative about age. I'm just being realistic that the younger generation is the go-getters, reference to that field. They smart, they sharp, and they can really explain what's happening or what you can really do. I'm talking about the age of what I am. Would really help you in this market of today. So, in reference to the clients that you have, Miss Alexandra, have asked you earlier about the people you have around you. How do you continue to educate the marketing trend of today of changing to make sure they understand to keep building their financial budget? So, how do you make sure that your clients are okay, the old ones and the new ones?
My whole job is to make sure they're okay.
Okay.
That, to me, is no matter what life throws at you, we want them to be okay. And, as you get closer to that retirement age, you have a mind shift of, I'm not chasing the biggest return. I'm not chasing the newest trend. I'm making sure that no matter what happens, I have food on the table, money's coming in.
Yes.
And I'm not worried about the what ifs in life. And so the education piece, to your point, is probably the most important thing that we do.
Okay, awesome.
Interesting.
I feel like a teacher sometimes, to be
I
completely
bet.
honest, because it's important for everyone to understand what we're doing, why are we doing it, and why does this make sense for me?
It's interesting that you put it from that perspective,
Yeah.
being a teacher. Okay. Is it your experience that being as young as you are, relatively, I mean, I'm 52 years old, so you're 30, you're younger than I am. Is it your experience that when you're dealing with older clientele, that they are less likely to listen to you because maybe they somehow think they know better than you? Do you have a hard time reaching an older clientele?
See, I find that vice versa. Good question, because I find that I will listen to Jonathan at my age. But I'm sorry, just had to add that in.
You know,
Very good.
there is some power in some gray hair, white hair in the room. The experience is not something that you can replicate. You know, you could be 30, you could be 50. It doesn't necessarily matter. You just can't replicate that. It's time. And so, you know, in a situation like that, if I feel like they're more comfortable or would maybe respect or understand someone closer to their age, I'll always bring one of my partners.
Okay.
Interesting.
Always bring one of my partners. But believe it or not, there's actually the opposite too. I work with a lot of pre-retirees, 55, 60-year-olds that want to work with me. And when I presented the idea of I'm going to bring along one of my associates or one of my business partners, they said, why? We want to work with you. We're here for you. Like, we trust you. We know that you know what you're doing.
That's interesting.
And we also know that if you don't know something, you're going to go find out.
Would you say that maybe it's more challenging with the younger folks?
I think so.
See, the way I see the younger folks these days is there are so many that talk about that work and life balance. It's almost as if they don't want to work and to earn and to try to build something for their future because they don't have enough life experience to understand there's going to come a time when you won't be able to work.
Exactly.
And you have to have something to fall back on.
The younger generation is tougher, in my opinion.
Okay.
And there's a couple factors I
Sure.
think go into that. The first one being immediate gratification.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
AI.
anything. I remember growing up, if I ordered something from Amazon, it took 2 weeks, and now it's at my house in 2 hours. And
Right.
so that generation, or maybe my generation or a little bit younger, is accustomed to the immediate gratification. And so when you present somebody, instead of spending $100 on a night out, I want you to put $100 aside that you can't enjoy today
Right.
for your future.
Correct. Yeah.
And to me, that's the delayed gratification, is don't enjoy it today, set it aside for down the road. And that's a tough concept for a lot of younger clients, younger generation.
Well, it does boil down to, like you've said multiple times here, is you have to take into consideration there's going to be an extended period of time, and you have to be disciplined in what you do. And if you are not taught as a child how to live your life like that, it is a very difficult thing to begin.
Yeah.
Especially if you're living, like you said, you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're
Yeah.
blowing it all at the club or doing whatever it is you're
Right.
doing. To one day wake up and say, I can't do this anymore. I need to actually change what I'm doing, or I'm not going to survive and they're not even thinking about retirement.
Yeah.
They're not
They
thinking
think they're
about
going to live
retirement,
forever.
Well, you bring up one point, and I mention this every time I sit down with somebody, is, you know, what did your parents teach you about money?
Oh, that's
Very good.
good.
Very good question.
And
Very good.
I always get the reaction, wow, I wasn't expecting that question.
Oh, that's good.
And I'll follow that up with, is there something that your parents did that you would want to replicate? Or could there maybe be something that they did that you're thinking to yourself, I want to make sure I avoid that at all costs?
Correct.
Interesting.
And to me, that's all I need to know is, what did your parents teach you? What is your experience? And, you know, you'd be surprised what you hear. And I'm the biggest believer, and we need to enjoy life, enjoy
Yes.
money. Like, we all work
Yes.
hard for our
And you
money.
do.
Yes.
And there is a balance, right? There's clients that save absolutely everything they have. And I'm like, why don't you go and do something fun? right?
Right.
Because we're planning for different life stages, and great, you're going to retire with all of this, all of that, and you're not going to. Well, one, tomorrow's not guaranteed.
That's right.
Two, health is not guaranteed, and so
Nope.
finding that balance of we want to enjoy money today, spend it today, but let's also be proactive. And finding that balance is
It's difficult.
it is. It's really difficult because, again, you have a client that wants to save every dollar they have, and then you have the complete opposite.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is a balance, and that balance is different for everybody. And you think about different life stages.
Yes.
So it's just interesting to me.
I'm going to just veer off to the right a little bit.
Yeah.
First, I want to say congratulations to your empire of having several locations here in Dallas, Texas. I want you to share where they're located, and also I want you to share just a little bit about your team at both locations and what you can offer to the listeners to contact you and what they do and et cetera. So share with us, Jonathan, about your two locations.
Yeah. So we started in Dallas, just right off of 635 and the tollway. That's our main office, our network office. And then about 2 years ago, my team that I've worked with my entire career decided that we wanted to open a branch in Rockwall. And so we did that, officially rolled out earlier this year. And so that gave me the opportunity to have almost 2 locations.
I
Wow.
love that.
I love that.
I love that.
So Rockwall is wonderful. It's a newer
growing.
It's
Yeah.
growing. It's a newer
Tremendous, yes.
location.
Yes.
In fact, our Rockwall office, actually, the territory stretches out all the way to Louisiana.
That's
So
amazing.
we actually have
Congratulations.
offices in East Texas as well. I don't frequent those, believe it or not, as much as I do the Dallas and Rockwall locations. But my team is based of, we have a couple team members that do absolutely great work that we would not be able to do. Our brains are just wired differently.
Yes,
So
yes.
thank you to all of our team, Kylie, Emily, Shannon. We have Blake, who is he's our managing director. He's actually the one that got me into the business, ironically. He went to Arkansas as well. And so we've had a great time working together, developing young advisors. And so our Rockwall location has most of our team.
Like that.
Dallas one, same thing, right? We kind of go back and forth, and I think COVID brought a couple of good things, maybe not some good things, but the positives are virtual meetings and Zoom and things like that, and that's a whole different topic. But people are a little bit more accustomed to that, and so it does facilitate being able to get in front of
To
people.
get in front of people. Jonathan, I'm going to go a little bit different now. I just want people to know you, know a little bit about you and your background, and how you got to where you are. Tell us a little bit about your background. You speak a couple of languages. Tell us a little bit about you, so that so people can feel you of who you really are.
Yeah. So both my parents are from Colombia. I was born here, lived here my whole life, but that gave me the unique advantage of being fluent in Spanish, which is really some of my more prideful work that I do is with the Hispanic community. But as mentioned, my dad's a doctor, and so I've always grown up with professional parents. And again, I thought I was going to go down that route, and it was just not something that was for me. But kind of like I mentioned earlier, is I still feel like my dad's compassion and empathy and authenticity really has transferred over to me. We're just doing different things. But coming into this, I knew I needed to do something that had impact. I needed to be with people. I wanted to be in front of people to help, right? I think the biggest obstacle I think my industry faces is trust.
Trust.
Oh,
That
yes.
was I was looking for that right
Yeah,
there.
That is the
Trust.
biggest, by far the biggest challenge. And so, I'll never forget this. One of my first interviews, they asked me why I wanted to do this, and I told them my dad's a doctor, and one of the most beautiful aspects of being a doctor is you can go anywhere in the world, and you're seen as someone that does absolutely no harm, only good.
Yes.
But I want to interrupt you for a second, because your mother is a doctor too.
Correct.
Your mother is a doctor too, so you have mother and
That's
father, which are
amazing. Thank you.
doctors. Yes.
Much needed.
But it was that, and I think I'm never going to be in that position. I can't go anywhere in the world, and no one's looking for a financial advisor, but they're always going to be looking for a doctor.
Yeah.
And so that is one of the most beautiful aspects of that field is you're there to do no harm, only good. You're only
very
there to
interesting. That's a very
improve
interesting
someone's
subject.
life. And I started thinking about this last week, actually. It's like, imagine going to a doctor and leaving less healthy.
Right.
And
Say that again.
imagine going to the
That's
doctor
right.
and leaving less healthy. And so you go to a doctor to be a little bit of a better version of yourself.
Absolutely.
And I thought to myself, that's what I do. But why is it more challenging for me? And it's trust. It's trust because unfortunately there's information everywhere
Right.
nowadays.
Right.
And so when we meet someone for the first time, we really have to establish and help them understand, hey, we're on the same side of the table. I'm here to help you. I'm here to make you a better version of yourself.
Right.
But that takes time.
Yes, it does.
That takes time, and it's a sales component. I
I was
think
going to say that good customer service.
it is, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, when you think of the word sales, you almost think of a negative connotation.
Absolutely.
You think of
Correct.
a winner and a loser. You think of a commission. You think of this.
Absolutely.
You think
That's
of a
the
pay
first
structure,
thing
you
they
think
tell
of a
you,
bonus,
yes.
and there's no way to get out of that, right? And that's, I think, probably the biggest barrier is that trust and making sure that
How much is this? How much is this
Yeah.
going to cost me for you to teach me how to spend
right,
my money?
Right. Exactly.
That's
Or
right.
Are you
That's a very good thing.
Yeah.
How
Are
much is it going to
you-
cost me? That's the first thing you ask.
are you acting in my best interest?
Yes.
Would you
Right.
do this for yourself, for your own family? And for some clients, they trust you. I mean, that's
Right.
immediate, but others, it takes a little bit of time. And so, our relationship is really different because we're on the same side of the table.
Sure.
And whether you implement what we recommend or you don't, or you go do it yourself or you do it with somebody else, I mean, you did something based off of our conversation, and to me, that's a win.
Something is better than nothing.
Correct. And whether they do it with us on their own or somewhere else, the conversation we had, the hour we spent together, hopefully gets you to be just a little bit in a better position than you were when we first met.
Awesome.
Did you say that your parents were Colombian? Is that what you said? So you speak fluent
I speak
Spanish?
fluent Spanish, yeah.
Okay, so in the industry that you're in right now, recently we've seen, Hispanics, their buying power is phenomenal. We're starting to notice that their voting power is becoming phenomenal. Would you say that you're starting to see more and more Hispanics actually working on their financial futures?
I would want to say yes, but I don't think so. It's getting better. When you think about the first or second generation Hispanics, it kind of goes back to that first question: what did your parents teach you about money? And what I've realized and I've learned, and again, my parents are Colombian. They immigrated to this country in the early '90s. Is they didn't grow up understanding what a 401k was. What is Social Security? How does this work? And what are taxes? And so if you don't teach that to the next generation, they don't know. And some of the most rewarding conversations I've ever had have been with
A lot of these people may be second or third generation, and their grandparents didn't trust the banking system and would just keep all their
Agreed.
money stuffed
So
under
much.
the mattress,
you'd
and
be
it's
surp-
not
yeah.
earning any interest or anything like that.
Well, my first question, if they tell me that there's money under the mattress, I'm like, well, what's your address?
Fair enough.
But we joke about it, but it's very, very true. And they don't
It is true.
understand.
I'm going
because
through that
It
right now.
is
Yeah, with the
true.
you
client.
don't know
It
what you
is
don't
true.
know. And I'll tell you a quick story. Is I met with a Hispanic client, maybe 60, 65 years old. I looked over a couple of different investments that he had, and unfortunately, he had his 401k had been actually not invested. It was sitting in cash for the last 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And so all that means is the interest that was being accrued in that account was equivalent to what cash was accruing. And it gave me, I don't know what I felt. I think I was upset. I was excited that we found this now and not 5
Not
years
later.
down the road.
Yeah, I think the excitement's the
But you
word.
think to yourself, is this was not explained to him. This was not taught to
It was
him.
just
This
sitting
is
there.
He didn't
risk
know.
tolerance. I mean, yes.
Correct. And so we made adjustments, and now we're on a better track.
Yeah.
But just like that situation is, there's probably more people like that
Absolutely.
that just don't.
In
they
a
don't
lot of
understand.
cultures. Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, and I'm glad you're saying this because this is a great opportunity. We're sitting here talking about this. This podcast, we bring people to broaden our experiences in writing books, in any
Any
conversation.
area.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you're saying something that's important because a lot of this, whether it's Latinos or any other Asian community,
African-Americans, I
African
mean,
American,
everybody. Asians,
I'm
right.
going through right now a young couple that I'm selling a home to. Yesterday, when we sat down last night, I said, okay, this is what you're going to put in your escrow account. This is what you're going to do. They had no idea what I was talking about. They sat there. We want to buy this house. Neither of the parents. The mother showed up. She says, my daughter knows what you're talking about because I taught her. They're Latinos. I taught her. I didn't know much, but I wanted to learn what it was all about. So I understand what homestead is. I understand what saving is because I wanted to sit down and talk to them. Where is your money? Where is your savings? They both look at each other and they said, well, we have it in our pockets. I'm going, okay, you've got
I'm saying they don't
$25,000
trust.
in your pockets.
It's a big pocket.
It's a big
big
pocket,
trust.
but they're
They don't
saving their
trust.
money, and this is very important, Jonathan, what you're doing because I can tell you, I just recommended you very highly to Marshall
Oh, yeah.
because
This is
a
amazing.
lot of the people do not understand. They don't understand how important $1.99 of that needs to be saved in 1 penny you spend. That's how I was raised, and today's youth and today's families, they don't look at that way. They look at what do we have to have for tomorrow, where we're going to spend it, what are we going to do, what we're going to buy, or they just have no idea how to budget. And I think budgeting is the number one.
And it's hard to find who to blame, right?
Right. Well, you can't blame anybody.
that part right
the
there.
whole thing is
That part right there.
blaming. Is the blaming? This is a problem. Blaming doesn't mean anything because you might blame so and so, but how did they learn? What are you going to blame after that? It's like
Correct.
kicking the can continuously.
Yeah, I think it's just been made much easier to. It's almost, I guess let me rephrase that. I think society encourages the immediate gratification.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And, you go online and nowadays you can finance a pair of pants.
Oh Lord, yes. Go to
Finance.
Shein and spend $100 and they'll take it out over 4 months.
Right. And to me, I'm like, wait, what? Like
Yeah,
that makes no
exactly.
sense to me, but that is,
Yeah.
there's a music festival, I forgot which one it was not too long ago, and they found that over, 60% of concert goers all finance their tickets.
Wow.
Incredible.
Incredible. You got to be kidding.
Yes. No, that's true.
Maybe I haven't been to a concert since
That's
Willie
true.
Nelson.
That's true. And I would not do that for
I'm
nothing.
sure that's a story all
Financial
in of
ticket.
itself.
That don't make any sense.
Oh my
That's true,
gosh.
though.
Oh
It
my
is.
goodness.
Well, she actually touched on a really interesting topic again. Last week, we had an author that was here. She wrote children's books. Has it ever crossed your mind that maybe you should write a book on how people can invest and to maintain their financial futures?
I can't say it's crossed my mind yet. It hasn't.
I know there's a lot of folks out there that write a lot of books that sit on shelves that nobody ever reads. So I can understand putting your life's work into print and throwing it out there in the world, hoping that someone will pick it up and read it, and maybe by word of mouth it'll catch on. But much like we were talking about earlier, in many ways you're a teacher, and you're having to educate people on how to take care of their
Education.
futures on a financial level. And in many ways, you would almost have to literally draft almost like a textbook, but do it in such a way that it's interesting.
Yeah. So
Because I think finance bores people sometimes.
You know,
so
I'm glad you're
go ahead.
saying that. I'm going to interrupt you because that book that Kim wrote, with the illustrations. I think if he would do something with an illustration, it would be fabulous. You remember you weren't here. Were you? No.
Wasn't here when she
The
came.
illustration of this book. It was the tree. Ask questions to the tree. Was the question? Was the book
Little
right?
tree asked me.
The tree asked me. The illustration of what I think that's what people need to see. The illustrations of what you're doing. A check. These young people, they didn't know what a check looked like. They went to the bank and asked for a they called me from the bank. They said, this young man is asking a complimentary check. What is a complimentary check? He was asking for a complimentary check out of his account. They don't know, and a lot of the elders don't know either because they didn't have that instruction. And I think that's I love to see that an illustration book.
If not a book.
Yeah.
There are so many YouTube channels out there that will show you basically anything you want to know.
Correct.
That's the best way to go.
Maybe finding a
YouTube
medium
would
that
be-
people
yeah.
will actually interact with.
So the challenge
best
there
thing,
is I'm 30 years old. You're 55.
You're how old are
52.
you? How old are
30,
52.
29,
29.
29 and 11 months.
29, okay.
29 and 11 months, and
All
you're
right.
55. Our financial goals are probably very different.
Sure.
And so writing a book that
Absolutely.
can tailor to
So
so many,
Something,
it's-
yeah.
so many different
Very, very
life
interesting. Yeah,
stages, and
every
not
life
life
stage.
stages, but mostly what's important to you.
Right.
You could do a series
Right.
of videos, for
Yeah.
example, oh, you're 20 to 25, 25 to 30, and so on and so
Correct.
forth. And I think, you're a halfway decent looking guy. You could probably get on there and start up a channel and
Yeah.
be very successful
appreciate
with
that.
it. It would
Thank you.
actually bring in some business. One of the things that I have also found is that if people watch a video, but then they turn around and they get to interact with you personally,
Mm-hmm.
it's an entirely different experience. I saw you on TV, man.
Yeah.
But they realize you're a real person. You're not just out there in the ether,
Mm-hmm.
making videos. And that may be another way that you can reach people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Jonathan, can you tell us a little bit? Where is you work for? Or I know you're an independent, but what's the name of your company? What are the addresses where you're located? How can people find you so that we can have it on our podcast?
Yeah, so our firm is partnered with Northwestern Mutual's wealth management company. We're independent, so that really gives us the ability and the flexibility and the benefit to put our clients first and Northwestern Mutual second. And that just really comes down to, are we acting in our client's best interest and not
Very
the
good.
company?
And could you give us addresses or tell us so that we can record it where,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you're
of
actually
course,
located and how they can find you if they want you?
Yeah, our main office is the right off of 635, the tollway. That one is 5420 LBJ Freeway, Suite 1300. And best way to reach us is really by phone or by email. And that phone number is 214-802-0466. And that would be the best way to get a hold of us.
Very good. And when you're talking finance, and so you're kind of a broker. You go and find what's the best project for the person to be involved in, and what's the best wealth management that you can do for them. You go out and search. Is that correct?
Correct, both on the insurance side and the investment side.
investment
And
side,
so I think
okay.
that's a misconception. People sometimes think I'm employed by a specific company and I'm loyal to a specific company.
Correct.
And
Very good. I'm glad you
just
explained
similar
that.
to you, independent contractor, and,
Yes.
and you're the brand, right? I'm the practice, I'm the brand.
I'm the brand.
We do a lot of work with different investment houses out there, and same thing on the insurance side. And Northwestern Mutual gives us the exclusive access to their portfolio and solutions.
Misconception is a great word. That was going to be one of my questions is when someone's talking to a financial advisor, I think that they have this idea of who you are, what you represent, your level of knowledge. What would you say is the most common misconception that people have when they first come to talk to you?
It's a good question.
A good question.
Really good question. I think the biggest misconception is you need to have all of this wealth or money to sit
Absolutely.
down and talk with us.
Mm-hmm.
I think that has to be number one.
Well, you got to crawl before you walk, got to walk before you run. So absolutely.
And I think that's also a fear of a lot of people because it's so unknown or what to expect, not knowing what you need or what needs to be done to come to see Jonathan and his team, because that would be my situation, to be on truth side. That's where Alexandra said, I want you to go see Jonathan. I just think you need to take that step. But today I've learned the background of him more, because I would need to be comfortable. I need to be comfortable to who I sit down and share my business with. I'm not a type of person who just always shares everything that goes on my home style life and also my business side
Sure.
of, of everything. But now I met Jonathan. I actually listened to his passion of how he said, I like to make sure my clients is that one-on-one person,
Sure,
that
absolutely.
he has with his clients. That's what I look for. I just can't come and say, I'm going to come and see you. I don't know nothing about you. I don't know anything that your company has done. This gentleman right here, he has 2 locations. He has a great team behind him. And just by us talking for 15 minutes before the show, he shared a lot. I'm comfortable. And that makes a difference to me. And I think that's the fear of what a lot of people are experiencing out here. It's not that we don't want to see a financial advisor. We need to know who, if I come and sit in your chair, can I trust you to keep my information confidential? That's the
Right.
bottom
That's the
line.
bottom line.
It's
Jonathan's not
nothing
going
else.
on at 2 o'clock in the morning with a
Yeah.
commercial. Come
Yeah,
see
I
me.
don't need
I'll
you to
make
go
you
tell
rich.
your friends and stuff. Miss Shelley came to see me. Oh Lord, I don't know how she made it. That's not what that
Yeah.
client needs.
It's a confidential.
It's got to be a confidential. It's not about go see them. It's about relationship, guys.
Relationship.
And when you start building a
Trust.
relationship with
Trust.
somebody else, even talking to him for the few minutes, I've gained trust in him. That's when I said, I'm going to come and see you.
And I'm so
Because
glad
I'm
you're
not a
doing that.
jumper like that. I'm not the type of person, say, because my sister would come to me, because she was mentioning to me in Puerto Rico, sister, have you got your financial advisor? Because I have one. You want to go to mine? Well, that's yours. I'm happy, but let me see who I am comfortable with, to do this. So I think that's one of the issues that a lot of people have. You have to be very very sure and sure for who you go to, who you talk to, who you share with, because it's important to do that.
Well, and to piggyback on that, do you get a lot of clients that have actually had a negative experience with a financial advisor?
Great,
Great
question.
question.
I'd love to hear that.
It's another good question. You're full of good questions today.
Yeah, good
It
question.
is.
You would have to meet
He's
my wife to
fabulous.
understand why.
We have, right? I think everyone's experienced different things in the financial sector, the investment world. And truthfully, it kind of goes back to, does this make sense for you? Is this important to you? You can have 2 identical people and someone says, this is very important to me. The other one says, I don't care about this. And so when we see someone that had a bad experience, it's just generally because the advisor or the client, they weren't able to meet where they were at that same day, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
I don't necessarily
It's instant gratification again.
Correct. And so we think about, hey, this is something that you need to do, but maybe the client's not there yet. And
That's
so
right.
it's so
That's
important
right.
for us to meet them where they're at
That's
today.
right.
Right.
And that's probably the negative experience I've seen is, if an advisor is trying to get them to be somewhere that they're just not ready to be at.
That's
And
right.
There's nothing wrong with that. Save $200, $500 a month. Well, maybe we start with something smaller. And sometimes the advisor, when we're calling to action, can be misinterpreted, right? And so that's why it's extremely important to meet the client where they're at today and take baby steps, right?
Right.
To your
Right.
point, you
Right,
need
right.
to
Right.
crawl before you can walk, before you can run.
Right.
And in our industry, we know time is the most valuable asset. We cannot go back in time and do something.
That's correct.
And as you know how compound interest works, is it's better to start yesterday at a smaller amount than delay that for X amount of years.
I have a question. Do you charge by hour? How does your pay system
Excellent
is?
question.
Do you charge by, I don't know,
Yeah.
just share. Tell me how this
Yeah,
works.
so that's actually probably
Excellent question.
another really good question. You're right. But something that's been spoken about a lot in our industry is how do we get paid? How can I make sure that Jonathan or my advisor is, on my side of the table, acting in my best interest,
That's right.
not putting his needs or commissions first. And so the industry, I mean, we're compensated specifically in two ways. Is if we manage assets, there's fees associated with those assets that we manage.
Okay.
On the insurance side, the insurance broker carrier pays us a commission.
Okay, thank you.
And we all operate off of fiduciary standards, and that's just simply we have to act in the client's best interest, never the other way around. But there are a couple different fee structures you can have. I know some hourly rates. I know some we can charge for financial plan analysis without
Got
integrating
you.
any sort of products
Okay.
or solution. And so that's quickly evolving too.
Okay.
Fee-based planning is what it's called.
It's called, yeah.
Fee-based planning, where we're not going to implement any sort of products or solutions, or we're not going to manage any of your accounts, but we're going to charge for a fee. That plan is a fee.
Gotcha. I like that.
Interesting.
I like that.
And also explain to them a lot of people think that when you talk about managing the wealth, their wealth, they think that it's you're that's managing it. You're investing it in.
Correct. Yeah. No, we
Explain that to them.
Yeah, so when we invest, we build portfolios. There are fund managers, analysts that are actually investing and taking care of the underlying investment in those accounts. So we're not sitting behind a computer making trades or adjustments. There are people that are much smarter than I am and better at that than I am that are doing that.
And because a lot of concept with a lot of people, when you say financial advisor, they think that you're the one that's handling their stuff.
Yeah,
They got to
no.
get. So you're actually looking for the best programs for
For their-
them to invest.
Correct.
Or
That's
to
good.
go to a different type of insurance or annuities or things
Correct.
like that.
That's
so
good.
that's very important to know.
Yes.
Well, Jonathan, we're coming pretty much to the end of our
So
show
good.
today, and it's been so good. And I think I would like to see you come back one day
Me too.
and discuss what the wealth, what are the best ways to invest in with annuities or insurance or just different projects that you have available, because it's not all about just putting it in the bank or putting it in a 401k or a ST or government fund. So I'd like for you to think about maybe coming back and do another show later on in the year or next year,
Yeah.
because we're almost at the middle of the year. So we're not having a show for August the 30th because it is Labor Day weekend. So we will be coming back on September, and our guest will be the Pocket Sandwich Theater.
Oh, look
Will
at
tell us the
that.
story
Fantastic.
of 51 years
Whoa.
in the theater world. So we're looking
yes.
forward to that. Jonathan, it's been such an honor and pleasure since I've known you since you were a young little boy.
That's amazing.
And to see you where you are. Now I want to ask you a big question. What are you going to do when you grow up?
I'm not sure yet. I need to find out what age you're officially grown up. I think that keeps moving more and more and more. And it's almost like when you ask someone when do they want to retire, they say never. But when you want to
Yeah.
grow up,
Exactly.
I say I like to keep. I say never. So
Well, as you leave us here today, what recommendation, what good advice would you give all of us that are sitting here?
Oh, that-
to
I
all
like
of us?
that. I
What
like
would you
that.
say to each person that's listening to you today? What do you need to do? What is the best thing that you can do with your funds? And even if you don't have money, a lot of people say, well, I don't have any money. I only have, what I work with. What is the best advice you can give somebody?
yeah, I think another good question.
And we're so full
I
of
know,
good
you guys are
questions
good.
today, I tell you.
But I would say, what we do is really relationship based.
Oh, yeah, I like
there's math
that.
involved, but really the math is not the
I like
important
that.
part. I like to think of three different aspects. There's time, there's money, and then there's health.
Yeah.
Excellent. I love that.
And
Life, health, wealth, and love.
generally, those three things don't show up all at the same time. And so when you're young, you're starting off, you might have lots of health and energy, but you probably don't have the assets
Wealth.
a 50, 55-year-old
Exactly.
might have. You look at the opposite of that, and it is, well, let's look at a 6-year-old that's retiring. Well, they probably have the assets, the wealth to do so, but maybe their health isn't okay. And now they're retired, they have all the time in the world, but maybe they're 65, they're not as healthy as they were when they were 35.
Interesting.
So, I mean, I would say, find a way to balance, right? To enjoy life today, to spend life living, and be proactive for the future. Plan for the what ifs in life, be proactive, but not to the point where you're jeopardizing today.
Very interesting. Jonathan, thank you so very much. It was a pleasure and an honor having you here. And I'd like to say that we just had a young entrepreneur in the bakery business, and it's so good to see another
There we go.
young man come from the insurance
It's
world.
amazing. It's great.
So I want to thank you for taking the time, because I know today you probably would be talking to somebody about their money and their wealth and what they could do, and being here today. And I hope that this podcast will help other people call you and give you the business, and also understand a little bit of what a financial advisor is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me.
What do you
You're
think,
welcome. We're
Roland?
glad you came.
I'm glad that we had this conversation. I think there are some steps I probably could take myself.
Same
Well,
here.
Well,
I feel
thank
the
you. We're
same.
coming to an end, so I'm going to ask
Yes.
Marshall to close us out like we always do. Thank you so much for being here again today. We're looking forward to seeing you on September the 6th, and enjoy, have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Marshall, would you close us out,
Yes,
please?
Father God, in the name of Jesus, how we thank you for this awesome podcast. Thank you for Jonathan and his understanding, his knowledge, his wisdom of how he helping so many people in finance, life, and wealth, and everything they need to make it, Lord. And I thank you for his knowledge and in his team and his empire. Thank you for Alexandra and friends, that we continue to speak to so many awesome people on their journeys. And bless us, Lord, and keep us and protect us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you so very much. See you soon.
Bye.
Is it-